Waterfall, the CCW podcast. Hello everyone, hello and welcome to Waterfall. It's the water saving podcast from CCW, that's the Consumer Council for Water. Waterfall, as I'm sure you know by now, is all about saving water, saving money, protecting the environment and combating climate change. I'm your host today, producer Tom, and I am joined as always by the guru Karen. Karen, how's it going?
I'm fine, thank you, Tom. It's a nice switcheroo today, isn't it?
To change of pace, we haven't got Mike, but we do have another core member of CCW making his debut on the podcast. We have the policy manager, Dec. Dec, how's it going?
Good, although the pressure of filling Mike's shoes I hadn't really thought about, so that's a lot on my plate, but I'm doing well.
Well, no, it's great to have you, and we'll get into briefly just why we've got you on the podcast before we get into the interviews and stuff. But of course, I just want to remind everyone to subscribe to the show, leave us a review on iTunes, and of course you can email us, that's podcast@ccwater.org.uk. But yeah, Dec, we've got you on here because you actually helped facilitate this episode. Can you just talk a little bit about Leakbot and Portsmouth and the trial and all that?
Yeah, so I, as part of my role at CCW, I keep an eye out on things for the customers of Portsmouth Water. So I talk to them quite a lot, the company, about how things are going. And they made me aware of a trial they were doing to try and explore options to bring down leakage in the area and support customers to identify leaks in their home, and that was Leakbot. So they'd sent out leak bots to some of their customers to see how it worked, really, to try and get leakage down. And they presented their findings at the end of the trial, and I attended that webinar, and I thought the results were really impressive, so I thought it was worth getting them on here to spread the news further.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we'll just get to the interview shortly with Craig of Leakbot of Ondotech and also Sasha, who's at the innovation team at Southern Water. But I mean, it is a really interesting thing, isn't it, Karen? It seems like quite a breakthrough in some sense. Like, it seems to have been received very well. They're using technology in an interesting way. It's a positive move.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is demonstrating how all water companies have got the similar challenge of trying to reduce leakage, and it's good to see companies approaching it in different ways and embracing new technology. The problem of leakage is one that will always be the sort of Achilles heel, if you like, of the water industry. So looking at addressing it through, as I say, these new ideas has got to be the way to go. I'm interested as well to see if the reaction from customers, because quite clearly it's in everybody's best interest to see leakage as low as it can go.
All right, well, without further ado, let's bring on the guests. This podcast is brought to you by CCW, the voice for water consumers.
Hi everybody, we're joined today by Craig Foster, who is the CEO of Ondotech PLC, and by Sasha Baigent, Innovation Lead at Southern Water. And we're here today to talk about some very innovative technology, something called Leakbot. So I think the first question to ask is, Sasha, Craig, what is Leakbot?
Hi, Cath. I'll
over
take
to you on that
one,
Craig.
Yeah, so it's a system that we invented, and it's a new way of detecting household leaks. So it's essentially a small sensor, and it's small enough we can just pop it on the post and send it to someone, and you just basically clip it to the pipe. So you don't need a plumber, and that small device can detect a leak anywhere on the mains water system in a house, and it's really sensitive. So it'll detect a leak down to just a few drops, basically down to about 3 milliliters per minute. And then what we've done is we've integrated a plumbing service. So if we detect a leak in the app, you can then book one of our plumbers to come and find and fix the leak. So that is essentially what Leakbot is. So we originally designed it for the insurance industry. But then more recently, over time, we realized it has a big water efficiency benefit, as well as preventing, we actually designed it initially to stop claims on home insurance. And then further down the path, we've ended up working with water companies. But in a nutshell, that's what Leakbot is.
In fact, I was actually going to ask you, what is the problem that Leakbot addresses? But you've made it quite clear there, certainly one end of it is to help avoid householders having to make large insurance claims, presumably when the leak has gone from being invisible to being catastrophic and a wall has got a massive damp patch or a ceiling is collapsing. But also those water saving benefits as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing we were really focused on was exactly that problem, Cath, that you talk about with insurance companies. So, I mean, when people think about their home insurance, you tend to think more about, someone breaking into the house or your house burning down. But it's the single biggest cause of claim is actually damage from leaks. So in the UK, it costs, depending on which year it is, somewhere around £600 million a year that insurance companies pay out just to put houses back to normal, really. And the leaks are not actually, it's not that dramatic. It's not like a ceiling falling in. What it tends to be is, if you think where the pipes are in your homes, most of them you can't see, right? I mean, they're hidden in cavity walls, they're hidden in ceilings. Yeah. And what tends to happen is there'll be a small leak somewhere, the feed that fills up the toilet cistern or fills the shower, and it's hidden behind some tiles somewhere, and it'll start dripping. And of course, no one will notice because you can't see it. And then it'll drip for like 3 months, 6 months. The first time you normally notice it is you see a damp patch on the wall, or you take things out the cupboard and notice that some drips, damage the back of the cupboard or something like that. And, that can easily be £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 insurance claim. So that was the problem we were really focused on to start with. And it was only like the more we did it and the more we were fixing lots of things in the house, we ended up fixing lots of things that the insurance companies didn't care about. And we were kind of explaining it away at the beginning. Oh, don't worry about that. We don't know what we're going to fix until we get there is the issue. So we were just fixing lots of stuff. And then over time, we were like, oh, wait a minute, we're actually saving loads of water as well. So it was a kind of nice side benefit. And then over time, we realized, there's actually some serious consequences of that it can be useful in different ways.
And I guess, Sasha, that's kind of where you come in, isn't it? Like we know that a leaky loo can be up to 400 litres a day, people losing, which is hundreds of pounds on your water bill a year as well. But there's that ecological benefit. We want people to use water wisely.
Absolutely. And obviously leaks are a waste of sort of clean, treated water. So, I think it seems like a no-brainer to be saying, obviously we want our customers to reduce their water consumption in lots of different ways. But actually by saying, if you've got water that's just being wasted, it's not even water that you're enjoying or, using for everyday purposes. It's a real no-brainer just to say, look for those opportunities to sort of fix those leaks. So there is a real opportunity to actually reduce water consumption just by looking at how we fix those leaks, but also actually it's a bit of a challenge on the other side, which is if customers can't see those leaks, we have to help them understand why they need to fix the leaks. But also, it's a little bit of an ick factor, I think, particularly around kind of leaky loos and things like that. So I think the value of Leakbot is that it's an exciting, interesting gadget. It's very sort of customer centric. So I think for us, it's kind of, we're really interested in exploring actually, does this device engage customers in the topic of sort of saving water? How can we kind of gamify that enjoyment as well? So yeah, we're really interested in actually, this is the solution to what is a really, really big problem for us. So yeah, really intrigued to see how customers can engage a little bit more with the problem.
And Sasha, how did this partnership happen then between Southern and Ondo? I mean, we want to touch upon the Portsmouth partnership, which has concluded actually, has some interesting data, but how did this begin between the two of you, and what was the thought process behind it?
Very good question. So I think so I work for Blue Wave, which is Southern Water's innovation team. So our role is looking at identifying new and exciting technologies that can help our customers to use less water and also to help us fix leaks as well. So this was kind of a real sort of dual benefit for us. So we've been doing a lot of horizon scanning to look for interesting new solutions that can help us save water. So that's where we kind of identified the Leakbot solution from, and at the same time spoke to our colleagues at Portsmouth Water and heard about their really positive experience. So it's been nice to share those learnings as a sector. We also had we ran a sprint at this year's Northumbrian Water Innovation Festival, which was called Don't Leak Me This Way. So I hope you enjoyed a cheesy pun.
Good pun.
But that was how we engage customers to look at the problem of leaks across communities and in their own homes. And the Leakbot team actually joined us at that event, and it was really good to see the customer validation for the product too. So we actually put it in front of customers and got their feedback, and just to see how customers really enjoyed the concept and the design and engaging with it was a real positive for us. So yeah, we've had a lot of interaction, and the company's been really hands-on in helping us understand what our challenges are and how we can design a trial that looks at, identifying if Leakbot's the right solution for us to solve it as well.
So you are going to run a trial. Are you running, or is it happening? I can see nods, Craig saying yes it is. Tell me about that trial.
So the trial's going to begin very soon, in the next couple of weeks, and what we're looking at is so we've got 1,000 devices to go out to our customers to start with. So we'll be offering up to 1,000 customers in sort of water stressed areas the chance to get a Leakbot for free, to install that on their property, and we'll also be fixing any leaks that we identify for free as well. So I guess the real aims of that trial are to look at, does the solution work to how much water is being lost through leaks in the homes? We don't necessarily have that data at the moment, so looking at how much water is this saving. But I think for me, the real interest in that customer desirability, how are customers engaging? Are they logging into the app? Are they enjoying it? So we're looking at, this is a solution for saving water, but a slightly different angle as well is that for a lot of our customers, they often get a high bill and they're not really sure why, because they don't know whether it's, is it a leak? Is it they just use more water? And actually, until they get a plumber out, especially if it's a hidden leak, they don't always know. So we're trying to reduce the frustration for customers and actually say, does this device speed up actually being able to find leaks a little bit quicker? So we're looking at sort of two angles on this, really. There's the water efficiency side, but also the customer experience side. So the quicker you can actually send out this device and find that leak, the sooner it sort of speeds up that understanding of, is it a leak? Is it my usage? And if it is a leak, they're more confident in calling out a plumber. But if it is their usage, we can help them in other ways to actually then reduce that usage. So it's a bit of a win-win for us. So it's kind of got a couple of sort of angles to the trial. We're really just learning, how does this work? How can we scale this out to our customers at the moment?
And Craig, you might know, do you have any insight from what happened with Portsmouth Water to kind of...
Yeah, sure. I mean, the good thing is we shared the results publicly with the water industry. And Ofwat joined us on the, it was a Spring Innovation Forum, and Ofwat joined the call as well. So it's really great because Ofwat set it in that bigger picture around what the regulator wanted to see about reducing per capita consumption. And it's news to a lot of people who are not in the industry. I mean, I learned a lot through this process. Like, just because it rains so much in England, you don't really think of us as being a water-stressed country. But the stats, the way Ofwat explain it, it does make you really sit up and listen. I think it's a combination of kind of climate change on one hand, population growth on another, and we're just slowly like abstracting too much water from natural sources, and it's really, really difficult. And you can project that forward into the future and see that actually there's a real problem, not right now, other than in particular pockets at certain times a year. But in the future, we'll really hit a crisis where there's just not enough water for the population in the UK. And if you look at, well, what ways are there to reduce it? That's where we really see that we've got a role to play. So what we showed in the Portsmouth pilot is we'd never done this before with a water company. We'd always worked with insurance companies. So very similar to what we're doing with Sasha. We distributed some devices to Portsmouth Water customers. The first thing we found is really high take-up rates, really great self-installation rates, very similar to what we see with insurers. Obviously, it's a bit different if you get one from your insurance company and say, this is part of the policy. Yeah. So we didn't know, if you just get one from a water company, will the same thing happen? But actually, if anything, more engaged. And crucially, when we said that you've got a leak, again, really high engagement in the app, 70% of customers interacted with the app straight away. 70% of people then kind of diagnose the issue themselves. And then interestingly, when we go out to repair the leaks, it's interesting because this is going back to what I was saying, Cath, that, with the insurance companies, we often have to explain this away. So what the insurers are interested in is those small hidden leaks that are in the ceiling, in the floor, that you not necessarily can see. But actually, when we go out anyway, even for an insurance company, almost half of the things we fix are leaky loos.
Wow, really?
And, you just see the water trickling down the back of a toilet cistern. You don't think too much of it. How often do you see that if you're in a bar or a restaurant? So we were fixing a lot of them. But when we did the maths, we realized if you look at the actual flow rate of the leak, which we can measure, and you look at all the repairs that we do, although it's actually just under half of the actual leaks that we fix are leaky loos. If you look at the volume of water that we save, it's actually 75% of what we fix is the volume of the leaky loos. Like you said at the beginning of the call, they can waste 200, 300, 400 litres per day. I think that's the thing. They're so deceptive because it doesn't look like a lot of water, but because they're flowing for 24 hours a day, they just lose a huge amount of water.
Enjoying the show? Please consider leaving a 5-star rating on iTunes and Spotify.
I think Mike had explained in a previous episode, what you're losing in litres per day is about the cost to you per year. So if you're losing 300 litres a day, it's probably costing you £300 a year if you're on a meter through your water bill, which is a huge amount of money.
And people just don't realise, and a lot of those leaks on the back of overflows, a lot of the time you can't even see because the toilet's usually white. And if it's a slower flow, you don't even notice that. I mean, we often ask people to put a piece of tissue paper on the back of the toilet system just to see if it goes wet when we've detected a leak. So what we found in the Portsmouth trial is 24% of the houses had a leak at the start of the pilot. So we alerted customers to the leak. We sent our plumbers. 6 months later, that had reduced to 10% of the properties had a leak. So a 60% reduction in the number of leaks. So if you then calculate through the water saving, that's a really significant reduction.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is those leaky loos really are the battleground of the kind of low hanging fruit that you could really try to tackle on a massive basis. We've since made friends with Waterwise and become an affiliate since sharing those results. And we've learned a lot from those guys as well, because they've done a lot of studies on the problems of leaky loos. And I haven't got the stats right to hand, but some of the things that they quote are just unbelievable. They said if we actually fixed all those leaky loos, you'd have I can't remember, it's like enough water to fill the needs of like 3 million people in the UK.
Wow.
It's like a big chunk of the problem if we could actually solve that. Yeah, so the results from the Portsmouth pilot were quite compelling. I mean, the other things that we thought of after that is and this is some of the things that we're doing with Sasha and Southern, is fixing leaky loos is obviously one big opportunity. But what we realised with this trial is we've got really high engagement with an app. And at the moment, that's all tailored to an insurance use case, but it leads you to other questions on, well, is there other ways that we can nudge people to better water efficiency behaviors at home? Signaling, like we can see, when someone's using water, if consistently, like my leakbot often alerts me because we've got a teenager, and often for some reason she can spend more than half an hour in the shower. So I'm getting an alert on my phone. Water's been running for half an hour. Do you know what it is? I actually do know.
Yeah, it's not a leak. Yeah.
But are there other ways that we can nudge people to to better behaviours to drive water efficiency as well? I think there's a real opportunity there.
Absolutely. Certainly we're all about that on Waterfall, saving water. I think in our back catalogue we've got episodes on saving water in the bathroom, in the kitchen, in the garden. We've got Leaking Facts, episode number 9, which we talked about exactly this, all those kind of small leaks that you probably don't know are happening and how they all add up to A, waste water, and B, cost you some money. So,
well, I think it's also about educating people and raising awareness, because I mean, I've been on my own journey with this, learning a lot from talking to people like Sasha, and I had a leaking loo in my own home, and the leakbot was detecting me, but you don't get round to fixing it for a while. You kind of think, oh well, that's not too much of a problem, and it realised that the message that we would ordinarily send for that is, hey, water's been running for a while, do you know what it is?
Yeah.
But then we realized there's much better ways of educating people. Like if you said, like you've already said it on the call, Cath, if someone hadn't fixed something like that for 3 months, we could tailor the message to say, hey, did you know the most common thing is something like a leaky loo? And by the way, they waste, work it out, make it tangible. So you could say, by now, you've probably wasted enough water to fill up 62 bathtubs. Yeah. And if you leave this for a year, it's going to cost you £300 on your bill if you're on a water meter. Why don't you call us out for free and we can come and fix it? There's no catches. And by the way, did you know that leaks like that are causing, impacting the environment where you live? That's something that tends to make people pay more attention. If they realize that actually the water I use has a direct impact on the environment where I like to walk my dog and, go on hikes at the weekend. Suddenly people are like, it's actually relevant to me. It's not an abstract concept.
Absolutely. Sasha, is that something you're looking at in this trial? How to get the communication out to people so that it's meaningful, and once they put it in and the excitement of looking at the app every 20 minutes is abated, what happens with that then?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's sort of the premise of our sort of Target 100 water efficiency program, which is how do you make customers, because we know that when customers know about water efficiency, they want to do the right thing. And it's actually, how do you get them to engage and to know, because it's just not known about. And I think we all know about the just a kind of lack of awareness for it. I think we call it the Great British Rain Paradox, which is that people think, like you say, we live in a wet and rainy country, can't possibly be running out of water, it's everywhere. So I think it's engaging people in the right way with the right tools. But yeah, it's kind of linking into what we're really intending to do with our program, which is just raising that consciousness. And again, with an app, like as Craig was saying, it's not just finding leaks, it's actually saying if you have left a tap running for a long period of time, it's going in and switching that off, and that then becomes sort of more of a habit of actually saying, I'm conscious of my water use, I'm kind of aware of it, where it comes from, the challenges of not having enough of it, and why I need to be sort of part of the solution of it. And our role is really, how do we make that easy for our customers, and how do we engage them, and how do we make them kind of excited about that as well? And I think that's for us the value of the Leakbot device and lots of the other really interesting gadgets and tools and tech that we're looking at, which is we've got to excite customers about this topic because we want them to be interested, we want them to care. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to see those sort of new gadgets and tools coming in that can do that. And the app is very interesting. I know as we sort of move into our smart metering program and looking at, what some of our tools look like, how are we going to engage customers in the future and keep them engaged? So actually we can learn a lot from the Leakbot tool to actually do that for us.
Exciting. So how long is this trial running for, and when will we see the results?
So the trial itself will run for about 12 months, but customers will be able to keep the Leakbot devices after the trials. So they've got a sort of longer battery life than the 12 months. But we want to get learnings really straight away. So we're going to be looking at, across those 12 months, how many leaks occur, how many need sort of fixing versus how many are just ones that need to be sort of a light tweak, for example. So understand, how big a challenge is this for us? How quickly are we resolving queries when customers are saying, I've had a high bill, I'm not quite sure what it is. For those customers that can get a Leakbot, is that faster than a current process of them trying to go around their house and actually work out where it is, or calling out a plumber when they might not need one, for example. So we're going to be looking at all those things across a 12-month period, but we think those learnings are going to come in much sooner. So it'd be really interesting for those customers. They'll get to benefit for a long time, but we'll get those learnings hopefully quite quickly as well.
I've got to ask you, have you both put a Leakbot into your homes at some point?
Well,
of course, Craig, yes, because you've got the shower.
This is where I'm going to get in trouble if Sasha hasn't. It's because we haven't sent her one yet. So.
Well, I haven't got one yet, but these are the perks of working in innovation in the water sector. So I'll expect mine in the post.
Anytime.
I'll make sure we send you one straight away.
I mean, I can absolutely see a huge benefit to this. I discovered only when it started coming through the wall that the stop tap behind my loo had a major leak on it because it's really old. And this would have identified it much sooner than when I was sitting there going, what's that noise? Oh, what's that puddle? Oh, that's the floor. So definitely benefit. Oh, thank you both so much for talking to us today about Leakbot. It is genuinely fascinating. And I love that it's something that's actually come from, there's the insurance industry who wanted to solve a problem. But what this has done is actually really help the public, people, saving money through leaks, saving the hassle. Nobody wants to make a claim on their insurance, do they? That's a lot of paperwork. Nobody wants to have to repaper the wall because it's got damp. There are so many things that, identifying a leak quickly can do as a benefit to us as householders and for the environment. It is, I think, as you said, Sasha, a total win-win.
Should we wrap up with the water use, Cath?
Go on, Tom. You asked this one. It's your forte.
Well, I mean, this is a staple question that we ask every guest, and we basically do a league table at the end of each season. And, there's no naming and shaming or anything. It's just interesting to get an insight into your personal water use in terms of per person, per litres, per day. We'll start with you, Craig. Are you aware of your number roughly?
No, I don't even know.
Well, yeah. That says a lot, doesn't it, Cath?
It's
A lot
not
of people don't know.
answer.
No. And Sasha?
Well, so within my role, I guess I've become a bit militant in my own home with being very cautious. I'm not the most fun person to be around at Christmas. I'm kind of the tap police and people leaving it running. So I've looked at my kind of household usage today. So it looks like I'm around sort of about 130, 140 litres. However, I'm going to assume my husband's taking the lion's share of that and mine's much less. So that's sort of my position. But yeah, I've become very competitive with my sort of shower times and looking for ways to reduce that usage. So if you ask me again in a year, and it will be definitely 100 or less.
Do you know if anybody can invent a meter that splits out usage? Because I feel the same at home. I'm sure it's not me using the bulk of the water. Oh dear. And Craig, you'll have to see if you can get it added to the Leakbot app, if it can start telling you your average.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, it's a very good idea.
Yes, because you could really gamify it. Then you could all have your different accounts on your own personal league table, and really push it even further.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to go check now. I fear that ours would be bad because we've got 5 kids, and my wife's South African, and I think because it's really, really hot in South Africa, just culturally they shower in the morning and at night time. She just can't get out of the habit, and I'm like, that's really using a lot of water. But actually, interestingly, like in Cape Town, I think they were one of the places that came closest to day zero a few years ago. So there was lots of public campaigns. So she had tons of ideas for water night about catching water. When you turn the shower on at the beginning and wait for it to get hot, it's amazing how quickly you can fill a bucket with water. And she was telling me that, and we did this on water night, that they use in South Africa, it's common. You fill the bucket up with water when you're showering and then use that to flush the toilet, which I thought was quite...
Oh, yeah. I think it's like 10 litres a minute or something comes out of your average shower. It is huge. So, yeah, you leave that running for 5 minutes to warm up whilst you go off and do something on your phone or whatever. That's a lot of toilet flushes, isn't it, that you've got right there.
And Craig, if people want to find out, is it leakbot.io? Is that the best place for them to go for the information?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Excellent. We'll put all the links down below.
Yeah, that's it. We'll put everything into the show notes. If there's any particular web pages or bits of information you want us to link to in those show notes, just send them over and we'll make sure that they get on there. And is there anything particular else? Have we covered everything that you want to say about this, or is there any other message that you want to get in?
I guess for Southern Water customers, keep an eye out for their own opportunity to get their free Leakbot. We've got lots of other opportunities as well for our customers to engage with us on sort of water saving via our website as well. So,
yeah, do people get to volunteer to be part of this trial, or are you going to be picking them based on people who are coming through going, I think I've got a leak, or this bill's really high?
Yeah, so a bit of both actually. So we're going to be targeting customers in our sort of most water stressed regions, offering them the opportunity, and we also have a number that are going to be offered by our sort of contact centre sort of agents to customers that are saying, I just want to know now, whether I've got a leak or not. So for those customers, we want them to have a good experience. So a little bit of both. Some are going to be approached at sort of random because they live in an area that's highly water stressed. Some will be because they're already engaging with our contact centre around sort of a bill query. So we do also have actually on top of the customer trial, we have a Water Warriors programme at Southern Water, which has just launched quite recently. So these are members of our own staff that want to sign up to share sort of their own knowledge around water saving. So we have a really great kind of sort of internal Facebook page. People are always sharing lots of great tips and things like that. But also we have over sort of 300 of our own staff who are signed up to be early product adopters, and they come in, they trial our products for us before they go out to customers. They give us feedback, they tell us how things are working. So they're almost kind of like our early adopters program. So we've also got 100 Leakbots going out to our staff as well, who are going to be sharing their sort of thoughts and feedback and seeing how many leaks they've got in their own homes as well, which would be really interesting. So
that will be.
Yeah, there's lots going on in the sort of the kind of tech space for us at Southern Water at the moment, but very excited about the Leakbot trial, definitely.
What would you like Waterfall to cover next? Send your water saving topics to podcast@ccwater.org.uk. Okay, and huge thanks to Craig and Sasha there. That was great to speak to them, and great to have Cath on as well as the interviewer. Dec, what did you make of that? What are your reflections?
I think the results they found out were the most striking thing for me. So seeing all those leaky loos that they found, the reduction they managed to find in the leaks, 24% of homes had a leak at the start of the pilot, and then that down to 10% at the end of the 6 months. Those are really, if you're spreading those results out to the whole country, or even just kind of the southeast region, those are huge differences that could be made to leakage. So yeah, I was blown away by those.
Karen?
Yeah, I mean, and I think, as Dec said, the uptake from customers is really good, because hopefully they've recognised that they will see benefits from it as well, not only in avoiding, sort of damaging leakage and things like that, but also, if they're on a meter, reducing the amount that they pay for water that they're not benefiting from. So, I think that, there's some really important advantages of using this sort of technology.
Yeah, and, within the home, but also, Dec, interesting to consider the applications for non-households as well. I think that could be massive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the best thing about this kind of piece of tech is its simplicity. There's no real limitations to where it can be used as long as there's a pipe to put it on. It's equally as applicable for a house as a kind of an office or a kind of industrial site. It can be used anywhere.
Indeed. And, I just want to close the episode then by urging everyone to go back through the archive, check out all the old episodes. It's wild to me how many episodes of Waterfall we've recorded over the last year or so, and all the guests we've had, and, all the laughs and all the things we've learned, crucially as well, and all the water efficiency tips. So definitely go back there. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, all the links to the socials and stuff down below. Email us, of course, podcast@ccwater.org.uk. But been great to speak to the guys over there, at Leakbot and Southern, and to have Cath on, and of course to have Dec on as well, to have new blood on the podcast. Right then, and that brings us to the end of the podcast, and there really isn't much else to say except for goodbye from me, producer Tom.
Goodbye from me, Karen.
And goodbye, and thanks for having me from me, Dec.